First, the Republican nominee for president assured us that the fundamentals of the economy were strong. Upon seeing coffee fly out of everyone's noses at that assertion, he changed his mind. Then the suggestion was to fire the chairman of the SEC. Informed that a president isn't allowed to fire the chairman of the SEC, the candidate changed his mind again. The next idea, a blue ribbon commission to study the problem. Thud. Next idea, come out against the bailout of AIG. Then when AIG was bailed out, change. Now it's time to be in favor of the AIG bailout. Then there was the fake suspension of the campaign to pass the Wall Street bailout. Then the Republican Party ran ads against the Wall Street bailout. Are you confused? You should be. Now we've got a new set of plans from John McCain on the economy, and I feel like we've got to figure them out quickly because there's a good chance they will all be different tomorrow. So the new ideas, as I understand them, tax cuts for people who were recently laid off and are getting unemployment. Obama is for that as well. Also, tax cuts for those people making money in the stock market now. A capital gains tax cut now? Does that trickle-down idea even apply during a meltdown?
I will tell you that nobody really has capital gains right now. So if the idea is to cut capital gains taxes when I don't know anybody, even the smartest investors who right now are going to be experiencing a lot of capital gains, that probably is not going to be particularly useful in solving the financial crisis.
Senator McCain is also proposing a tax cut for senior citizens who want to tap into their retirement accounts early. His rationale?
Retirees have suffered enough and need relief, and the surest relief is to let them keep more of their own savings. It's essential. It is essential we avoid an exodus of capital from the market.
Now, I know I'm not a Nobel Prize-winning economist like Paul Krugman or anything, but if you remove the tax penalty for people taking their money out of their retirement accounts, doesn't that encourage them to take their money out of their retirement accounts, which is taking capital out of the market? McCain also doubled down today on his push for the government to buy up bad mortgages, that oft-altered whiz-bang previously iterated idea he surprise iterated at the last debate. So let's see. There's something in there for senior citizens, for people struggling with their house payments, for the investor class, for people who are recently laid off. Is there a plan in this plan? Is this the economic plan of a guy who is trying to patch together a deeply wounded economy? Or is this the plan of a guy who's trying to patch together a whole lot of votes? Here to try to talk me down is syndicated columnist David Sirota. David, it's nice to see you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You are much more of a populist, a policy guy, than you are a partisan. I know that McCain is trying to sound more populist when he talks about the economy now. Is any of it resonating for you?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you look at his plans, and they're not really populist. I mean, if there's any ideology here, it's let's go back to the Ronald Reagan old conservative playbook of packaging tax policies, most of which are bad for regular people and which favor the wealthy, as sort of a populist plan that's good for everybody. I mean, you look at the capital gains tax cut. Now, beyond the fact that nobody has made many capital gains right now, those who typically do, I mean, 2/3 of capital gains taxes are paid by people making over $1 million a year. So if you reduce capital gains taxes, you are cutting taxes for people making over $1 million a year. This is a rigged tax plan that's rigged for the wealthy. We've heard this for the last, 8 years now with George Bush.
It's always the solution. Whatever's going on in the economy, it's always cut the capital gains tax and it'll help.
That's right.
The plan also that McCain is putting forward, or at least the pastiche of policies McCain is putting out, also includes a pitch for seniors, lowering taxes for people who want to tap into their retirement accounts early. The thing that I caught as somebody who is, I think, sort of a generalist on economic issues is that he's immediately then asserting that he wants to keep capital in the markets while obviously encouraging people to take capital out of the markets. Is this a political move to sound like he's doing something good for seniors, or is there logic here?
It's a total political move, and I think you've nailed it. You can't argue that we can't take capital out of the market and then create essentially a tax incentive to take capital out of the market. Right. And the other thing is that he says that, you know, I'm going to allow people to keep their money in their IRAs and in their stock portfolios after they turn 70 and a half. What he's not saying is that you only, by law right now, have to take out 4% of that money. Most people are not 100% invested in the stock market. So In other words, what he's doing here is painting his economic package with the veneer of real policy, but it's not real policy. The only real policy in here is that capital gains tax cut, which, as I said, nobody's making a capital gains right now, and it's paid mostly by millionaires.
It seems to me like what's happening here is that there are a number of policies that the Republicans, or the conservative movement more specifically, has wanted to make happen. A number of changes about the tax code and about other things they've wanted to make happen. And what McCain has now come up with on his campaign is a way to put forward that pre-existing agenda that's been around for a long time and just say that it will help the crisis.
That's exactly right, and I don't think we should be surprised by this. This is what the Wall Street bailout was about. They used the crisis to pass a bill that was aimed at giving away $700 billion of taxpayer money, no strings attached, to Wall Street. Now they're trotting out their old tax ideas as the panacea for a very new crisis. This is the conservative playbook.
David Sirota, syndicated columnist, it's nice to have you here in studio. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.